All right. Hello, and live from Denver, it is Friday night. And let me turn that speaker off there. Hey, everybody. Hey, critics. Welcome to another episode of Critical Conversations, the live show where you get to talk to us. We got everything all working here. Everything should be groovy petunias for this week. And as always, or not always, but thankfully, I am joined by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right. Okay. Good. Just making sure everything is all cool there in the comments. So, hey, critics, so happy to see you guys, seeing the usual suspects in the comment section, and so happy that we are forming our little community here. We have formed our community, actually. And you guys are just awesome. So I wanted to say that we need mutual support and mutual awesomeness, clubs. Cause, I was remarking, what was it, yesterday, day before? I was talking to a couple friends of mine. I don't know, maybe we were talking about social media.
Okay.
And I was talking to my other friend, Jeff, about this and how it's now so recognized. It's been like 15 years that that basically social media has been like a thing. And that seems to be the amount of time it has taken for all of us collectively to realize that maybe it wasn't really the awesome thing that we all thought it was going to be and it was promised to be and represented to be. And in fact, we've discovered that it was actually kind of something not so great. Not because it was meant to be something not so great. It was built to make us to be wonderful.
Yeah, to connect us to each other. And, it has done some good things, helped some people rise up in countries and stuff like that and get movements going. But it's also caused a lot of stress, anxiety, and horrible things.
Exactly. And we know that the reasons for that now that we've actually dug in and looked into this, we know that the reasons for that have to do with, sure, corporate, greed and that kind of thing in terms of trying to keep our eyes on the screen, on the phone, on the tablet, on the picture, as long as possible. And it turns out that in order to do that, while we might imagine that we love cat videos and music videos and all of that, and we will sit and watch them for hours on end, what really gets us going, what really drives our eyes to the screen and keeps it there is stuff that appeals to our more base fight or flight kind of reaction brain, lizard brain, whatever you want to call it. And we are absolutely, when we are afraid, when we are anxious, when we are fearful, when we are uncertain, when we are doubtful, in other words, when we are not sure what's next and what we should and what's going to come and what we should do about it, we stay glued much longer to the screens. And so it just so happens that the thing that keeps us stuck there is our own nature, and the algorithms don't care. If it was cat videos that kept us there, then it would feed us cat videos, but that's not what keeps us there as long. And so that is and that's the problem.
What I'm seeing on Facebook now that I didn't see before is like, if on a post, it'll say, do you like posts like this? Do you want to see more posts like this? Yes or no? And it's just they're up in their game.
Well, at least they're making an effort to consult your opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's an effort. Whereas before it was simply, I am in no way, shape, or form suggesting that social media platforms have become kinder, gentler versions of themselves.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I've been saying kinder, gentler version for a very long time. Those are the words that I just use, but it almost always comes out kindler, gentler. I don't know if you can hear the L in the, it's always kindler, gentler, and it's not kindler, it's kinder. Anyway, I always mess that up. I don't know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Justice. I thought we might throw justice out there as a topic. Now, the call-in lines are open this week, and we intend to keep them open forever now. So 984-214-4154. We really, really want to hear from you guys this week. I want to get you guys on the line and talking to us. This is Critical Conversations. I want to have conversations with you guys. Mel as well. You guys can call in and talk to her.
Yes,
you don't have to talk to me. And yeah, she's here too. And anyway, and as I know, you guys know. So wearing pants at the library is required apparently. Apparently.
Yeah, they like that.
I mean, what are they? So authoritarian. So off the rails. I just can't believe how dictatorial those libraries are. Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of a shame the algorithms aren't open source, although apparently they are self-learning little things, the bleeding edge of AI or whatever. And so the algorithms apparently have gotten out of hand in some regards, and even beyond what was programmed, because they program themselves in some fashion. I don't even pretend to understand that. I'm merely echoing what I've heard on that. But boy. Okay, so justice, you noted, we brought this up because I thought I would just use the sort of generic justice, because if you wanted to call in and talk about Supreme Court justices, that fits under this topic, as well as some other news that happened this week that you mentioned to me.
Well, I was talking about like R. Kelly and Ghislaine. I think that's how you say her name.
Ghislaine Maxwell, yes.
They're both going to jail for a real long time and probably going to, not get out by the time they pass. So that's good. That's good. I'm glad. Still a little curious about what she knows about other people that went to that island, but I'm happy she got 20 years and R. Kelly got 30, I believe. Yeah.
That's right.
So at least, there's a lot of fucked up things going on in our country right now, but at least there's, something good. Exactly.
We do need to accentuate the positive, as well as, put our attention on and deal with and organize against and fight back and push back against the negatives. And I do really stress right now the need to get organized. I really want to stress for people out there who are upset, concerned, anxious, irritated, annoyed, pissed off, rage-induced, whatever level you're at, in regards to various Supreme Court decisions on various cases. There's all kinds of law flying around right now that is a little concerning to a lot concerning to rage-inducing. And I know some of us are all over the spectrum on that. And I'm going to stress organize, because individually there's very little that we can do as individuals. Posting on social media, sending out tweets, rage, posting on Facebook, it doesn't move any needles anywhere. It's not going to change anything. Getting out, organizing together, joining groups that are already organized. And notice I'm not particularly throwing any one group out there. I'm saying whatever is going to appeal to you in your area and what you want to be changing or working on. I'm just kind of throwing it out there and encouraging y'all to do something about that, because it's really important right now that we organize. And the reason I stress that is because the people who have put all this together and made these things happen organized to do that. This didn't just happen. It doesn't just occur that a whole lineup of people get into the Supreme Court, that a whole, bunch of legislators are on board with that a whole bunch of things just kind of happen. That's not just
it's a long game.
Exactly. It's not spontaneous. It is a planned, organized activity, a series of activities that have to occur, that require a lot of dedicated effort and support and finance and everything else on the part of people who believe very strongly in these ideas. And that's just kind of how it is there are people as difficult as it might be to understand the opposition or to understand people who have very different social mores or morals or ideas than you do, they're there, they exist, and they organize, and they push things forward. And I would like to see us do better at that ourselves. And I've not said through this entire monologue here anything about Republicans or Democrats or anybody that I am referring to. So
we got some calls.
All of a sudden came in. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's pick up David. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, David. You got in first. Welcome to the show.
Good. No, obviously you said a lot of calls, so I'm going to keep it brief, but I'm going to talk very briefly about the Supreme Court thing.
Excellent.
The first thing is Roe versus Wade was I think it's fair to say was a controversial decision right from the moment it was decided. And a lot of people, a lot of professors, a lot of judicial scholars said the same. They said the Constitution should be considered was actually silent or whatnot. And the net effect of the decision this week or last week, I don't know which week it is sometimes, was that it returns it to the states. And one of the net effects of that could easily be that pro-choice activists organize, vote out anti-choice people, and change the structures of state legislatures throughout the country.
Okay. Sorry, I was a little distracted by some of the comments. Could you mute that one? I'm not sure what that's about, but that comment keeps coming up. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is about, but that looks a little, yeah, it's somebody trolling, I think. Sorry about that. David just had a little commenter to deal with there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I've got the phone audio cranked up. So, David, if you want to speak into your mic as closely as you can, it might help with the call audio.
Yeah.
All right, good. So those little bits taken care of there, David. Sorry, I was a little distracted there, so I didn't get your last point.
Okay, so the thing about the decision on abortion is that returning it to the states is not going to be this 1-2 punch that a lot of pro-life Republicans think it's going to be. What's probably going to happen is people are going to organize, and the Republicans themselves are either going to have to moderate their position or they're going to be voted out. And I don't
I agree. Yes, I agree with that. In fact, I believe that there will be economic pressures brought to bear in the short, medium, and long term on this that are going to be more convincing than any number of social arguments or social value arguments. Because the funny thing about the U.S. is that money is the grease that paves all transactions. And when Hollywood productions pull out of states because they are being dictatorial or authoritarian with abortion laws or other human rights matters, that's a lot of money that can get pulled out of areas when businesses pull out because, right?
Fair.
I think that's going to have...
I think we had this discussion a while ago. I don't necessarily agree with very large corporations exerting pressure like that, because if you see the principle that that's okay, what's to stop very large conservative populations holding Democrat states to ransom?
Well, see, there isn't anything stopping that. And that already does happen to a degree because we have very large conservative-based corporations here in the United States, which contribute a great deal of money to various causes, lobby for various issues, get behind certain conservative things. Here I'm talking about Hobby Lobby, for example.
Right.
This is already known. Yeah. This is already being done. That tit for tat, we can't really get away from. So instead, I suggest we merely use it to our advantage as best we can.
But I think that if we see, I mean, this is the kind of thing that I think in theory, you really could call out and stop by not engaging with it. If you decide that the rules of war, as it were, now permit it, that's just the end of it. But I'd like to make another point about the Supreme Court, particularly about people talking about politicians in robes and all that jazz. The first thing is any report of packing the Supreme Court, or however people want to try to reframe it, to not be packing. If Donald Trump suggested appointing that he gets to appoint 2 more judges and make an 11-man court, everybody would be up in arms. But I'm going to talk about 2 decisions of the Supreme Court very briefly. The first is in 2005, Gonzalez versus Ryan, where the Supreme Court invalidated a legal marijuana measure passed by California, where all the marijuana would be grown in California and only moving throughout California, and it was struck down under the Interstate Commerce Clause, a completely unreasonably wide reading of the Interstate Commerce Clause. One justice wrote a dissent saying that if interstate commerce will regulate this, interstate commerce has no meaning. Can you guess which justice that was that wrote this dissent saying the marijuana law should stay on the books?
Should stay on the books. I'm only guessing. I'm sure it wasn't Alito.
Yeah.
I don't know, though.
Alito wrote the majority opinion the other way. So who wrote the dissent?
I don't know. Roberts?
Clarence Thomas.
Wow.
What? That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, Clarence Thomas wrote it.
Wow.
And 2012, Florence versus Board of Chosen Freeholders, a narrow 5-4 majority held that strip searches of traffic stops were legal because, and this is in the court judgment, I read it, because a 9/11 plotter was traffic stopped a week before, so it should be legal. Who wrote the majority judgment?
Who?
Anthony Kennedy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Kennedy wrote the majority judgment for that. So all of this idea of like liberal justice or conservative justices, I mean, yes, it's true to a point, but at the heart, these people are judges trying to apply the law as they see it written. And I think that these attempts on both sides to undermine the Supreme Court over the past, let's say even in the Obama years, let's say since the Obamacare debacle, when Antonin Scalia accused the majority of essentially legislating from the bench. So for the past 6 years or so, it's been really unhealthy for American.
Well, I will agree with that, although I would suggest, I wonder, and I'm going to have to let you go because our calling queue is full right now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, let me just end with this, is whether or not the Supreme Court hasn't always been kind of politically, ideologically motivated in terms of who's getting nominated for it. Mm-hmm. You know, what kind of things.
I will say very briefly that I think, if anything, it's less ideologically nominated now, because right up until the 1950s and the 1960s, it was very common for ex-elected officials to be nominated and confirmed for the Supreme Court as opposed to judges.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, that is interesting. Yeah. Thank you for calling in with this.
Very welcome.
Yes. And anyway, yeah, we're going to move along, but always a pleasure to hear from you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. And here, you pick up that next call. Yeah. There we go.
Hello, Annie.
Hello, Melissa. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Annie. It always comes up Annie on the screen.
Yeah, or some other name, yeah.
Here we go. This week somebody called me Letty. So this is not unfamiliar to me. At least we know who we are.
That's right. Hey, Annie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. I feel so good to speak with both of you. And it's a wonderful topic you picked. really. And also what you said was brilliant, Chris, brilliant. Okay?
Thank you.
Planned organization.
Yes.
Planned organization. This is what we need to do, just like they did.
Yes.
Okay? But they did it underhanded. They did it against the majority of the constituents to which they are supposed to protect. And behold, they're at what we want, not what they want. Okay? That's what I thought justice was about. Okay? And they planned and they organized. And I think that your suggestion that we now plan and organize, I mean that. Because what are we going to do? Just sit here with our thumb up our ass? Okay. No, we're the majority. Now, the only way that I would think to do anything would be a petition, because that's the only thing that I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to say, no, this is not going to happen. And we are no longer appointing lifetime jobs for this Supreme Court job. No longer is there lifetime membership here. You are voted in by us whatever the petition says, 4 years, okay, 5 years. All those elder cockers, and Leah Remini would know what an elder cocker is, okay, from Brooklyn. All those elder cockers that have been there way too long, okay, and don't deserve the position that they hold. Lie to you, looking right at your face.
Yeah, I have to.
My biggest problem is like
all of them.
We might, of course, Democratic presidents elect or pick, Democratic freaking Supreme Court justices, and Republicans pick conservative ones. But those 4 guys lied.
Well, that was my problem is the deceit connected with this. Of course, Henny, as you pointed out, and it's no good. I definitely agree with you that I want mandatory retirement for legislators. I do want the wisdom of the collective years of justice, judges on the bench, and I don't want political appointees in the Supreme Court. I wish there was some process or way we could somehow filter that more effectively. And I can only say I wish, because I don't know what that process might be.
Well, we're going to have to do more than wish.
Yeah, I know.
These motherfuckers, exactly. They have gone, the lunatics are running the asylum, okay?
Yeah.
So, no, we can't sit here and wish. We have to come up with a plan. We are the majority.
Fair enough. Yes.
We are the majority, for God's sakes. And I'm not talking along political lines, okay? I don't give a shit for a Democrat or a Republican. I want somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, okay? Really. And who doesn't sneak around, and who doesn't lie, and who doesn't rape, and who doesn't like beer. I want people that know what the hell they're doing, okay?
Right.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I know. You don't have to be sorry at all. It's absolutely what we should have. They are there to help serve us,
That's what the job is.
That's right.
Is to serve their constituents.
That's right.
To protect and serve their constituents, which they do neither. They serve their own greedy ass.
Yes.
Okay.
Henny is fit to be tied today. I am feeling the heat, Henny.
I have to tell you, you know why? Because to me, when you say justice, I think injustice.
Yep.
And I feel like I really do. I feel like things have just turned upside down. And I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you feel the heat. I hope I put a fire under everybody's ass, and we could do something collectively.
Exactly. That is what I am talking about, is if you don't like things, organize, get together, work on it. Yes. Don't just sit around complaining.
Right. We got to brainstorm, and we have to come up with a plan.
That's right.
We really do.
That's right.
As a people, party lines notwithstanding, like I said.
That's right. That's right.
I don't care.
And there are non-ideological organizations connected with all of the stuff, with abortion, with other issues, with taxes, with healthcare, with any issue you care to jump on board on. You can find non-ideologically driven groups connected with this stuff. You don't have to be driven by politics in order to get active and do something, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, however it works, it's got something has to come to fruition here, you know?
That's right.
And I just wanted to also say that I always think of justice also as conformity to truth, fact, or reason, and the quality of being fair, impartial, and just.
Yep. There we go.
So on that note, that's what I think that justice is. And I hope someday we can achieve that. It would be nice.
Yes.
Wouldn't it? It's the constant striving that's the struggle, but I think we can do better than we're doing right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
And I love you guys. You're the best. And
thanks,
that's
Annie.
it. That's what I had to say. I'm going to join. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Love you, critics.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's pick up that. Yeah.
Bye.
Awesome. All right. And our call queue is just staying up here. This is awesome. So we're just going to keep going. Let's go ahead and pick up on Nick there. Hello, is this Nick?
Hey, how you? Great. So I had a couple of thoughts, and I'm going to go through them pretty quick.
Yep.
I think a lot of the behavior of people who claim to want justice is actually kind of sadistic. Now, hear me out on this. For example, you look at social media or even out in public, people will see people who disagree with them ideology, and they will go after them. People at the bottom levels will go after each other as if we're going after the actual person who's infuriated us. And I think this is, the sadism is actually to basically evade the realization that one is a coward who dares not even criticize the actual criminal to their face, much less, go to battle with them, so to speak, right? And like for example, it's really easy to sit there and, like, if you want to trash talk Trump or Obama or Biden or Mitch McConnell or whatever. Well, are you going to have that same courage if you're like standing face to face with him? Most people, no. Most people are going to fall to their knees and they're going to, placate to authority and whatever. They're going to be cowards. And most people don't want to face the fact that they're cowards. So they'd rather be sadistic and feel power. They'd rather have that dopamine hit. They cut somebody off in traffic who has a Trump bumper sticker or a Biden bumper sticker. They cut them off. They flip them off. They yell. They get to drive off. They feel good. They're like, oh, yeah, I just acted with justice. Well, no, you just acted like a dick.
Right.
And that's all it is. They didn't actually risk anything.
No, you make a good point.
Yeah.
You make a good point, right? Yeah. Which is, if I might restate, I think you're saying, or perhaps you're suggesting, that civility might be part of this picture as well.
Oh, we definitely did be more civil because we're not fighting each other. We're fighting the people at the top. And the people in power who are actually criminally minded are using ideology, propaganda, etc., to get us to fight each other because then that way they can keep doing their criminal behavior.
There you go. I agree completely with that. I do. I really agree with that. I really wish we could see that each other is not as much the enemy as we imagine each other to be. Yeah.
Well, and the problem comes, it's like you look at, like with that Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever her name is, it's like, okay, why haven't they released the client lists? They're not doing it. In my view, if this were a perfect world, people would be storming the court, storming the whatever, and they'd be demanding these judges, these prosecutors, these cops share the damn client list, but they don't dare do that because they're afraid of getting shot or imprisoned or whatever. They're afraid. Now, it's easy to be part of a mob, but there's only, even if you are part of a mob, look at the January 6th people. They were part of a mob. They still got, a lot of them still got prosecuted. A lot of them are still sitting in jail. Whether the charges are valid or not, they're still sitting there. And it's like when you have to actually suffer for justice, you actually understand what justice is. And I would dare say 99.99999, to infinity % of the Americans in this country have no fucking clue what justice actually is.
Wow, that is a strong statement. Well, I hear you, and I hesitate to fully agree with some of what you just said because I'm a little leery of storming buildings and stuff like that to get lists, of names. I'm a little like, well, there's due process,
Well, but yeah, and I get that. My issue is though, there's I'm trying to think of the exact quote. It's Michael. I heard it on Michael Malice says this quote. He says, what is it? So basically, it's along the lines of I defeat you and I give you freedom of speech according to my principles. You defeat me, you deny me freedom of speech according to your principles. So it's like we got one group of people fighting fair, we've got another people fighting unfair. And another aspect of it is you've got people who they're going to do some pretty sadistic, unjust things, and in their minds it's going to be justified. I mean, Stalin murdered millions and thought it was justified.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
In China, they're killing Uyghurs and all this other stuff, and they're considering it justified.
Yeah.
And it's like, most people have no clue or understanding as to what justice is. They don't understand the difference between laws and ethics. They don't understand the difference between justice and whim. It's just like we have such an uneducated public, and they're all so overly emotional that, you say a trigger word like Trump or Biden or whatever, and people just lose their minds, and the thinking part of the brain gets shut off. And the minute you shut that thinking part of the brain off, that means the criminals at the top who have hold of their cognitive faculties, they're still in control.
No, I get that. I get that. That I agree. That I agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That I agree with. I think that we have. I think we have an overbalance of emotional reactions here on some of this stuff.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the struggle.
One last thing before I go, because I know there's a lot of people on the calls. I think probably the first step in understanding justice and enacting justice is enact it within your own life. Sometimes justice is not a comfortable thing. Justice might be denying yourself that second piece of cake and actually going to the gym. Justice might be, biting your tongue instead of losing your mind on Facebook or Twitter. Justice might be, something that you might otherwise not do. But if you have justice is an aspect of self-love. And if you can love yourself, you'll be able to have room. Yeah, I know this is kind of very spiritual, but if you have self-love for yourself, you'll be able to practice understanding and justice towards yourself as well as others. That doesn't mean let people walk over you, but at the same time, it's like, you'll be able to have those boundaries for yourself and then to have those boundaries for others.
I agree with that. Definitely. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for calling in with that.
Awesome. Have a great 4th. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good. All right. And this is great. They just keep coming in. We're just going to keep picking them up. And let's go to the next one here. All right. Is this Anthony?
Hey, yes, it is, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. So I was interested in your topic.
You're breaking up a little bit, I think.
How's that? Is that better?
A little bit.
Okay, sorry.
There we go. That's better.
I would be breaking up. Okay, I think I just was holding the phone a different way.
Got it.
Okay.
What you got?
So first of all, I'd like to define justice in my own way. And personally, I think we overcomplicate it. All justice is, it's really just ice. I mean, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's just ice.
Ice?
I'm sorry.
Just ice. Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my God. You caught me.
I couldn't
Oh.
I couldn't help myself.
Oh. Okay. All right. I'm gonna forgive you for that one.
Well, I had to get it out of the way at the beginning.
Totally.
So I can move on to the real stuff I wanted to talk about. And we're talking about heavy stuff, so I want to lighten the mood a bit.
Absolutely. Please continue.
Okay, so anyway, moving on from that. Sounded like Mel appreciated it. Anyway, what my main point was, well, actually, I had two quick things. The first was Scientology related. It also has to do with justice. So I know there's recent news about Paul Haggis being arrested.
Yeah.
And charged with sex crimes.
Yes, there is.
And
Italy.
I know he's a very outspoken former Scientologist. He was a prominent part of Going Clear. And just personally, I think Crash is one of my favorite movies. I think I just think it's a brilliant movie.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, I know Mike and Leah have commented. I know that before the arrest happened, there had been allegations made,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike and Leah came to his defense.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that they were most likely a Scientology ploy or fake story that was used to smear him.
Mm-hmm.
And now that things have escalated here, I don't know one way or the other. I hope that due process happens and he gets a fair trial and they figure out the truth. But I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on the legitimacy of this accusation.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for asking about this. I, of course, am in no position to know, as I sit here right now, as is anybody else, out here, as to the guilt or innocence. We don't know, right? We literally don't know.
Right, exactly.
And so we're leaving it to
Same thing with Danny Masterson, right? I mean, I think we can say, we have to say allegedly with him, but
we do.
He needs to have a fair trial too.
He does.
He needs to have both of them are due to the exact same court process.
That's right.
The chips will fall where they may. Hopefully, they'll both get the appropriate verdict.
Exactly.
But it's the same.
Yes, I agree with that. Okay, so that basically that's exactly right. I do have to say, and I have said, allegedly, when it comes to Danny Masterson, because I don't know, and again, neither does anybody else. However, we have credible witness testimony and numerous instances of witness testimony. And so, and we have efforts that we understand and have documented of the Church of Scientology attempting to cover it up. So there are things we do know or are reasonably certain of, and there are things we don't know, right? And we'll see but without question, without any question whatsoever, Danny Masterson is absolutely owed due process as a citizen of the United States, and he deserves that, and he will get that. I would say the exact same thing for Paul Haggis. I don't want him to be a sexual predator. I don't want him to be guilty of those things. But at the end of the day, I can't know. I've never even met the man. I have no ability to judge his character. I can only judge the actions I've seen him take in the real world. Those actions include, writing and making an Oscar-winning movie and speaking out publicly against an authoritarian cult called Scientology and leaving that group because it was trying to, offend against and suppress his daughter's human rights as a LGBTQ, right? So those are actions he's taken. We can look at those actions and we can go, I agree with that. Good on him. I hold the same moral standards he does on that issue. So that much I can say in the affirmative about him. The rest of it, I hope he's a good guy. I hope this is going to work out for him. I hope that he is innocent of these things. But that's all I can say about it,
do you have any? I mean, do Mike and Leah know something you don't? I mean, do you agree with them in their assessment that this is a Scientology a cover story? It's a smear job.
I agree with them that it could be. OSA very much has the power and ability to infiltrate people's lives, to what's the word? Suborn, get people to say things happen that didn't, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have zero knowledge of the people who are making accusations against Paul Haggis. It's not like I've done a deep dive on this. As far as I know, those people are not connected with the Church of Scientology. Certainly this person in Italy, I believe, was not. But those are obvious connections. Could there be non-obvious connections? Could there be something else nefarious going on? Of course there could. OSA is famous for nefarious operations and, I might add, long-term operations. They have infiltrated people's lives and had operators close to them. John Atack, Janice Grady, Michael Laws. I mean, various people have had their lives infiltrated by Scientology. Mm-hmm. For years, they had undercover operatives following them around and stuff, or pretending to be friends with them even. So they're capable of a lot of things. Does that mean that's what's happening to Paul? I don't know. I can't say, but I can certainly put it out there that it's a possibility, that there's a possibility that OSA is mixed up in this as well. So, there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing we can do is wait it out.
Yeah,
wait to see where the legal process leads.
That's right.
Okay, so I wanted to move on to the other point I was trying to make, which was about justice. I think that the main root cause that in America specifically, there's these intense, heated, at each other's throats political fights, and usually, of course, it centers around justice. What is a just law to implement? What is the appropriate moral standard everyone should live under in a civilized society? Those are the questions we're all grappling with right now.
Yep.
And my personal feelings on the root cause of all that is the two-party system. And I want to read this quote. I want to read a quote from the founder of our country, George Washington.
Yep.
This is something that this is a quote from George Washington's farewell address when he was stepping down as president and allowing John Adams to take president. He was the first, and that's sort of the miracle of America that Washington did that, right?
That's right.
When his term was over,
that's
he relinquished his power.
Yep.
Yeah, that in and of itself kind of makes America a miracle.
Yeah.
But I want to read this quote here. Washington said, however, and he's referring to political parties here of any kind. He says, however, they may now and then answer popular ends. They are likely in the course of time and things to become potent engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion. So basically what he's saying here is, if we adopt political parties in this country, we're going to lose what we just fought this war for. We're going to lose everything we've built if we retreat into these tribal camps. And I personally think we're proving him right.
Oh, yeah.
Washington obviously was a very flawed man, but he seems almost prophetic in this moment. So
well, certainly.
Comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. Certainly true. And one can point to that. Here's my view on it is, yes, you can definitely point to that quote. And also to the Federalist Papers. There was a paper regarding factions, I think is what they were calling them before we started thinking of them as political parties, because they became much more organized and machines, as the years went on. And that's what we now have is this political party system. I my feeling tends to be that we don't have enough political parties, because I don't think it's possible to not have them at this, especially now. I mean, I can't retcon history, and I wish we could never have had them, and I'd be curious to see what our system would look like without that, especially in such a gigantically large geographical range of country that we have. It gives itself to subgroups, just naturally. There's no way to avoid it, I don't think. But I think that only having two of them is where we are losing the plot.
Yes.
Because it's black and white.
I think having multiple parties, honestly, would be just as good as having none of them. I think it would accomplish the same end, honestly.
Exactly, because it would actually give greater representation to each individual group, as opposed to this. So you have to stick every round peg into a square hole to make it fit, because it has to be one or the other, and that's all you got. And what happens when neither one of those are your choice? And that has been the problem I believe we've been stuck with for decades and decades now, and I'm sick and tired of it. And these parties suppress the creation of more parties, and that is a huge problem right now. We have a monopolization of the party system by the two parties that exist, and they won't let competition grow. And I hate that about our system right now.
Yeah, I am 100% on board with you with that. Because here's the thing. Morality exists. There is a right and a wrong, but it's not black and white. Morality is very gray, and it's complicated. It's difficult to figure out moral questions. And what I'm afraid of is happening is that America is being infected by cult-like thinking.
And
the cult-like thinking is there's black and white, there's good and there's bad.
Yep.
And I'm on team good, you're on team bad, and that's that.
That's right.
And I don't think that I think that a lot of it is is comfort. That's the motivation behind assigning yourself to a political party, is that the world is complicated. It's crazy. It's hard to figure out what's the right thing to do. People do all kinds of things, and you look at human behavior and you think, well, what really is acceptable behavior? What really is unacceptable behavior? Obviously, if it hurt someone, most people can understand that's wrong, but that line is getting blurred as to what's harm now.
That's right.
So.
That's right. It's always context specific. That's how I approach it, and it works out a lot of the time. What's that?
I was just saying political parties are not context specific.
No, they're not. That is the problem with them. That's right. It's one size fits all kind of solutions, and that's exactly the kind of thing we want to avoid. We can't avoid it entirely. This is how rules are built. This is how the justice system is built. Is you have to have categories. You have to silo people into into their categories, right? Not all crimes equal all crimes, for example, right? So we have to have some level of sorting hat, but it can become a matter very easily. We can slip over the edge or take our efforts at that over the edge and become extremist black and white thinkers, and that's what we want. I agree with you completely. We have gone too far with that. We need to pull back a bit in certain areas. Yeah.
One last thing, and then one last thought, and then let's get on to other callers. I think that the answer for that needs to be healthy individualism, because individualism can become narcissism, and thinking that the only thing that matters is what I think and how I feel. But I think healthy individualism is, appropriate understanding for how you feel.
Yep. And
that understanding that feeling good is important. It's important to feel good. It's important to feel happy, because if you're unhappy all the time, it's not only makes life not worth living, but it can affect you physically and lead you to an early grave.
That's right.
And you, where that manifested for you, Chris, is when you were in Scientology and being abused by Scientology. I don't want to speak for you too much, but from what you said that you thought that how you felt didn't matter, or that you were feeling bad, but it didn't matter because it was for the groups. It was for the greater good of the group.
That's right.
What you were going for, what you were going through, and I think that thinking happens. That thinking is infecting the country a lot now, because I think a lot of people had, like a lot of people on the right, a lot of the Republicans had a lot of issues with Trump from the beginning, still do, and continue to. But it's because but disconnecting from, their world of what's acceptable, what's right and wrong, and that reinforcement, that group reinforcement of what you think. Because if no one's reinforcing, if you think something, but literally everyone is telling you it's wrong, I think most people are going to change their mind at some point.
Yeah.
But if everyone is telling you around you, the people you surround yourself with is telling you it's right, that feels good, and you don't want to question that. You don't want to separate yourself from that comfort.
That's right. That's right. There's absolutely an influencer on our behavior. It's not an ultimate influencer. There's lots of others, but it is a very strong one. Peer pressure, group pressure, in group, out group pressures. They're very powerful motivators.
Yeah, for sure.
Big time.
All right. Well, always a pleasure to talk to you, Chris.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. All right. And we've had a couple calls in the queue for a while here, so we're just going to move right on. This has been like back-to-back calls. This is awesome.
We don't have very much time left either.
I know, which is why we have to get through these. This has been a popular topic this week. Is this Mark?
Yeah, I'm rather pissed off right now.
Okay, sorry, Mark. What are you pissed off about?
Well, he sat there and he let this bastard ramble. I've been on hold for damn near a fucking hour.
I am very sorry for that, Mark. It looks like it's been about 30 minutes, but I do apologize for having you on hold that long.
I'm not known for my patience.
Well, like I said, I am sorry. I have been doing the best I can to get through these calls. I'm sorry. Did you have something you wanted to talk about?
Well, this Roe versus Wade thing. I'm no expert on it, but to me, it seems more like a human rights thing than anything else.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And the South. If you look at the South, 90% of the states that are blocking abortion are in the South, and unfortunately, the South still has some old attitudes about women, not barefoot and pregnant.
That's right.
And so it's all about controlling a woman.
That's right.
Controlling.
I agree with you.
It's all about controlling human rights, and here in Washington State, we're basically giving the Supreme Court the figure and saying, hey, we're gonna, if somebody comes in front of the state and wants local services, we're not going to turn their back on them.
You're in Washington State, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're pretty. I think they have it together on this, right?
Yeah, the Washington, Oregon, and California, they're just giving the Supreme Court the figure.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants, if anybody wants services, come on over. We're not gonna turn their backs on you.
Right, exactly. And I think we're going to see more states coming up that way. It's not going to just be the left coast going to be working on this. I think we're going to see an awful lot.
It's codified into law in our state in Colorado now.
Well, let me point out something for the audience here that John P. Capitalist told me the other day, which I found very interesting. He's been working on population and demographics and stuff. And he told me, people have been moving out of California and other liberal states into places like Colorado here, or into Texas, into other states. And as a result of that, these states are changing their colors, right? They're going from red states to purple states to blue states. Well, it would only take 20,000 people moving into Montana to make it blue. Like, it doesn't take
Come
a
on,
lot.
liberals, let's do it.
We could actually flip some of these states pretty quickly. Just
I got a nickname for. No, I got a nickname for politicians.
what's that?
I call them gutter rats.
Okay, that sounds appropriate.
You show some diseased rat with all sorts of boils and leeches on it.
Yeah,
that pretty much sums up all politicians.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, Mark. Well, I'm going to. I got another caller in the queue that I'm keeping on hold for a while. Did you have another point you wanted to make on this?
No.
All right. Well, thank you very much for holding.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate it, Mark, and thank you for calling and making these points.
Yep.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. All right. And let's get Wayne here. Hello, Wayne. Are you there?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, this is me.
Hi, Wayne. Welcome to the show.
Speak with you. I've been a fan of yours since you started, and I too am an ex-Scientologist. I was in for like 25 years.
Oh.
Been out now for about 10 years.
Fantastic.
Getting back to the topic on abortion, I think people are looking at this all wrong. I see this as a huge nation, and there's no way to make all these people happy, especially with something as heated as abortion. So why isn't it letting every state choose? Then say if you lived in Maryland and it was legal for abortion in Maryland, and you hated abortion, so you just truck over to another state like Virginia, where it wouldn't be, then you would be happy, right? And I think people are just looking at this wrong, and especially I don't think it's fair, like some guy that hates abortion, to make him live in a state that supports abortion, you know?
Sure.
Giving the
But it's not about your feelings. It's health care. It's denying women health care in certain states. And there's even states now like Mississippi that want to do dogs to sniff you out if you're pregnant at an airport.
That's not my point at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my point at all. I'm saying they have the freedom to go to this state and be happy with whatever choice they make.
But moving states costs money.
Mm-hmm.
It means finding another job. It means finding a place to live.
It's better than ripping each other's heads off at this point.
Well, I don't disagree that it's better than ripping each other's heads off at this point, but I do agree that there are some logistical, practical matters with that make it kind of impractical for some people in some of these states to be able to be mobile enough to move that easily.
Right.
I think that's the point that Mel's trying to make.
I got that, but I'm not saying everybody's going to be happy. But
okay,
you're trying to deal with a super big nation like America.
Yeah.
A balkanization is what I see the future of this country.
Yeah.
And I see it as a good thing. I see it as freedom of choice. And
Fair enough.
I don't want to take up any more of your time. There's probably a guy all mad because he can't speak with you. So I'll let you go and I'll listen to your...
Well, Wayne, thank you for calling in with this idea, by the way. I hope we're not battering you into the ground here.
Oh, no, man. I really love you guys, and it was great talking to you. Thank
awesome.
you.
All right, Wayne. Well, thank you very much for calling in. All right. We will move along here because we do have a little bit of attention on the time. We are going to have to get going. So this is going to be the last call, and we will keep it short, but I do want to take it.
All right.
And here we go. Is this Darla?
It is, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, Darla. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm doing well. Well, first of all, I just want to say the energy on this show tonight is just like batshit crazy, right?
Yeah, it's kind of wild tonight. It's awesome.
I know, right? I bet you're digging it.
I am. This is why I started the show, so people could call in and we could talk. I love it. So what you got?
I know. Well, I have so many things. I just don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess one of the things I want to say is it just came up on my algorithm last night where I watched a guy by the name of Brian Seymour interview Paul Haggis in regards to this. Did you see that?
I did not. Brian interviewed Paul about the charges?
He did.
Ooh, I need to look that up. How did it go? What came up?
Leah Remini was on there. Mike Rinder was on there. Tony Ortega was on there.
This must have been done in the past then. This is an older interview.
It was.
Okay.
It was done in 20, I believe either 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
But it couldn't be released until, I don't know I haven't seen the charges where he was at was he charged in Italy or something?
He was,
like that?
yeah. He's been arrested in Italy. That is where this is happening.
Okay. So I wish I could give you the name of the channel offhand, but I didn't write it down. I'm too old to remember this shit anymore. But also I wanted, there's a lot of men on here really speaking about, about women, like this whole topic of the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really on Mel's side, where I think and Henny's side, where, more women need to call in here and speak about, how we feel about it,
Yes, please.
I've had, yes. And, that dude was like, it only happens in the South. Well, I'm from Ohio, okay? And we right now are fighting for a governor's race coming in November. We need to get DeWine the fuck out of our state as governor and get a female in there. And,
please.
Who's going to stand up for our issues.
Yes,
And
please.
I know, yeah, and I just really think that more women need to call in here, speak with Mel, and speak to these issues. It's not a man's issue, and it is a man's issue in the fact that they need to take responsibility for their actions. They can't go around fucking everyone and making all these kids and then just leaving them into the system. And that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's
Big time.
just a conversation that I know I'm all over the place here, but I don't know. Maybe the energy of this entire program tonight is it's just frustrated me. But, I wanted to say, great show. Going to share this. And, I just hope you can continue to grow. Congratulations on your degree.
Thank you.
Now, whatever you're doing, you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Whether you're eating healthier and it looks to me like you've lost a ton of weight, and you know what I mean? Like, y'all look great. Y'all look great. So,
well, thank you.
I'm going to be your last conversation, and just love to all, and happy 4th, I guess.
Yeah. That's right. 4th of July. Well, thank you very much, Darla. We really appreciate the call.
In the United States? Are we really happy to be in the U.S. of A.?
Yes and no. That's what I'm going to say right now. I have such mixed feelings on it,
Oh, and one more point I want to make, and then you can comment on this later on. I think our system is our government system, is, I don't know how you, the guy that called prior, he was a very good critical thinker like you. I'm not a really good critical thinker, but I want to throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that our government is what would be called, considered antiquated at this point? And that, I understand your structure of justice and those things, but don't you think it's kind of antiquated, and maybe we need some new minds to look at this.
Maybe some parts.
I think that there are certain things codified into law in the U.S. that are rather antiquated ideas. I think the system which exists in the U.S. is one of the most stably progressive potential systems on the planet. I think that we have the ability to have and consider our Constitution and our laws as living, growing, evolutionary things. We can add to them. We can take away from them. We have the ability to grow this thing. It's not static. It's not stuck in time. And for that reason, I would say I don't think that it's antiquated, but I believe that we have antiquated ideas driving a lot of the morality and a lot of the legislation in this country. Exactly. And that's what I would like to see updated.
That's why it would be okay if there was a mandatory retirement age for Congress.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Stuff like that.
Like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The geriatric club that we call Congress, there should be mandatory retirement age. It's ridiculous.
I know. Yeah. Get rid of Nancy Pelosi and all that.
That's right.
I mean? But, okay, I'll let y'all go.
Cool.
Wonderful show. Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for talking with me.
Thanks for calling in, and I'm glad we took your call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, good.
Well, I just want to say we did see that super chat. Thank you, RR. I'm not angry, just passionate.
Yes, thank you very much for that super chat, RR. And I will encourage everybody out there, super chat away. We're all about fan funding and being supported by you guys. So just want to throw that out there. We are going to have to wrap up. We've gone over a little bit. So very quickly, just for tradition's sake, pick a card, any card, baby.
All right. Special pleading. Moving the goalposts to create exceptions when a claim is shown to be false. For instance, Edward Johns claims to be psychic, but when his abilities were tested under proper scientific conditions, they magically disappeared. Edward explained this, saying that one had to have faith in his abilities for them to work.
Yes. Yes, it did not work because you did not believe.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to believe it's going to work.
Like Mystery Men with the guy that could only turn invisible when
nobody's
you weren't looking.
Exactly. I love it. Okay, guys, thanks very much for coming around and watching us gab on here. Thank you very much to all of our callers this evening.
Yeah.
We very much appreciate all of the support and all of the opinions and everything thrown our way. And we also appreciate those of you who stay on hold for a long time. We do appreciate that too. It's a call-in show and it's a little random, but thank you very much, guys. Critics out there, your support is totally appreciated. Yes. And with that, podcast tomorrow, part 2 with the Insider. So if you're looking at Scientology stuff or interested in that, you're going to love that podcast. And we're going to have a regular pre-recorded Q&A show this Sunday, already recorded, in fact, and so you guys can enjoy that. All right. Talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.